Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the T95 FV4201 Chieftain. It's the tier 10 British reward tank. It's located on the north spawn of Steppes in a standard battle, and it's under the command of Awppenheimer. Game underway. Well, he's armed with the 120mm L11 gun, incredibly accurate and does a huge amount of damage. 440 alpha, penetrating 270mm with standard APCR, and with the premium rounds it will actually go through 322mm. 10 degrees of gun depression, a top speed of 46 kilometers an hour, and it does accelerate rather quickly. It's actually built on the hull of the T95, which is an American medium tank, but it was the crossover tank. It was designed to try and put a Chieftain turret on an American hull, because of course the Chieftain turret is incredibly strong, withstands huge amounts of damage being fired at it, just bounces them off. And with that L11 gun, the 120mm, it can do a massive amount of damage to the enemy. Okay, is there anybody down there? Yes, there is, but it's a Foch, and it looks like he's hiding up on top of that little top rock where you can shoot at our guys. So instead we're going to go for this guy, which is an MX M454. No, 51, sorry. He's landed in a tier 10 game with tier 8 tanks in it. The Chieftain is, of course, the closest we've got to the British Chieftain. Oh, yeah, that Lorraine made a bit of a boo-boo there. He just got nuked by a Jaegeru. We got a shot in beforehand, and it was a high roll for 477. Now, the Chieftain itself is actually a reward tank, which was handed out for those people who play Clan Wars. Only the very best players will get it. Nice shot into the lower plate. He gets a pen, which is a low roll for 434. He's going to do the same again. Yep. And another one, this time a high roll, 452, and he blocked the round that came back. Okay, they spotted a T57 heavy now. That shot didn't go anywhere, but it kept their heads down whilst we advanced towards them. And looks like the Jaeger is coming down behind us, so it looks like they're up against some pretty formidable opposition. Well, that one took him out of the game, and that was a headshot straight to the turret. The Jaeger just blasted them. Well, we're going for the cheeks. And yes, we will penetrate the T57, even though he's firing 120mm rounds back at us. He only got one pen, and we've gone for his lower plate instead and get a high roll for 454. Okay, lower plate again. Yes, easy, but 409 this time, low roll. We took a round there from a Heshbon. That was an HE round, not a standard HE, not premium. Didn't fire the Hesh. If he had fired the Hesh, I think we would have felt that, but going for the cheeks again. No, didn't get it. He didn't get the cheeks, actually. And our T57 Heavy's decided he's going to scoot through. And now he's found the Foch. Goes for the observation device. The enemy T57 is down. We're taking out this observation device. Oh, that went right over the top. And since the Foch is in reload, we're just crossing the gap. Yep, that's another one. Got the Heshbon here. He's probably reloaded by now. It's a long reload, but I would think he's probably reloaded. We can get the hull, which is a weak spot. Well, in fact, the whole of the Heshbon is a weak spot. The turret especially, because it's paper thin. Now, he's loaded the HE, because of course he wants to maximize the damage, and he's allowing the Jaeger to go through first, because of course the Jaeger can take the hit, and he does, only 389. Now Awppenheimer can go to work with the HE rounds and tear this Heshbon to pieces. Look at that, 535. The alpha on the HE rounds is 530. Okay, so the Heshbon is down. There's Foch still there, but I think he's probably reloaded by now. And yes, it looks like he just fired. Takes another one in the observation device, this time a high roll, 443. We're pushing, he's down, he's gone. And now we're on to the AMX M451. There's only 4 enemies left, and we're pushing on them. And it's Awppenheimer who's leading the push. They're holding them at bay at the other side of the map. That was more of a snapshot at the ELC M90. Those things move very quickly, and as soon as you get close to them, it gets a lot easier to take them out. He's loaded the standard AP now because none of the tanks he's up against really would present a problem, so he doesn't have to fire the premium APCR. Yeah, he just needs to fire standard rounds from now on, save money. Okay, the M451 is going to be the fun one, because that's the toughest they've got. Okay, he thought about stopping there to aim in and dial in on target, but he thought, no, get closer. Get more damage when you get closer, and more certain of getting a direct hit. Here we go. Fires it into the hull for 373, a low roll. Very low, actually, and he bounces the round that comes back. Yes, this strong hull. Lower plate, he's out the game, 303. Okay, the IS-7 is the next one. He's coming this way, but he takes the lower plate, and it's a low roll, 342. And he was frustrated about that, Awppenheimer. Okay, go for the lower plate. Yes! Kill shot. And that's his third kill of the game. The enemy ELC M90 is off in the distance, but it's the Leopard prototype who's next. And he's got paper-thin armor as well. So both of these last two ones are going to present no problem. In fact, he selected the HE because he realizes he can get a proper HE pen with these guys and maximize his damage. In fact, he should be able to take some of them out of the game with just one shot. In fact, there's only two left. There's the ELC, takes a round for 446, low roll. There's the prototype. ELC's off into the distance. We're not going to catch up with him. He's just going too quickly. But this guy is out the game. And that was 557, a high roll. ELC, yeah, he's trying to escape. Poor little thing. He's running for his life. And he's up against the... Oh my god, that's a Doom Turtle. And the Doom Turtle just, well, evaporates him into another dimension. And that was a very good game for Awppenheimer. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first class tanker for Awppenheimer in the T95 FV4201 Chieftain. Yes, the standard is very high. If you want to get an ace tanker in this tank, you really have to go some and do an awful lot of damage. And he did do a lot of damage, but it just wasn't enough to get an ace. He got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. A fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, and a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6 in this one. And he got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. And just look at that win 8. 9,607, and it's not even an ace tanker. Would you believe that? Let's have a look at team score. 7,204 hit points of damage. The next highest scorer was the Object 780, who had less than half of that, and that was 3,274 to him. And after that, it was the Foch with 3,087 hit points to that guy with his big boom cannon. Well, so a lot of damage, but no ace tanker. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those as well with 4. 3 kills went to the T95, and 2 kills went to the Kranvan and Jaeger on our team, and also to the IS-7, the Leopard prototype, and the Wizzy 132 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he's got that one as well, so he's got the top in all 3 columns, and he's the only player to get over 1,000 base in the game, 1,345. And it's still not an ace tanker. The next highest being the ELC M90 on his own team, who got 862. He was doing a fantastic job. He actually scored quite a lot of damage for a little spotting tank. And 836 went to the Scorpion G on the enemy team. In fact, actually, it's the plainclothes Scorpion with its own camo, not the Scorpion G. And he managed 836. Let's have a look at detail. Well, we can see that Awppenheimer fired 23 rounds, got 19 direct hits on the enemy and 18 penetrations. We saw one of those rounds go flying right over the top of the observation device on the Foch. I think at that moment, for some reason, he thought he was aiming at the observation. He just a few pixels out, let's put it that way, when he actually fired, and that's why it didn't hit the target. 7,204 hit points of damage, of which only 477 was done at more than 300 meters. And I think that might have been the shot on the ELC M90 as he tried to scurry away. 7 hits received from the enemy, only one of which actually penetrated, 5 non-penetrations, and 2 hits received by way of splash damage. One of those came from the Hesh Barn, who didn't fire Hesh, he fired standard HE, and that was a big mistake, because if he fired the Hesh, he might have done some serious damage, but he didn't, so that's good. 2,220 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 6 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed, and 1,844 hit points of spotting assist in that game. He earned 103,877 credits from the battle, 51,938 from personal reserves, 2,078 for completing a mission, 157,893 credits altogether. And after repair, ammunition, resupply, consumables, and yes, he didn't fire much in the way of premium ammo, he actually ended up with a profit of 41,611 credits. 7 bonds, because this was tier 10 game, 2,017 XP for the game, 8,112 for this mission completion, and 101 for this being a premium vehicle that you're actually gifted rather than actually buying. That's why you get less XP. And 2,017 from personal reserves took away 12,248 experience points from that game alone. So yes, what a great game that was. It's not the only one we've got for you though. We've got another one, and it's also in the Chieftain. So let's have a look at that one right now. In the second replay, we're on the Westfield map, and it's an encounter battle. Game on. Now you can see that Awppenheimer still only has 1 mark of excellence on his Chieftain. And that's really because the standard is so very, very high on this tank. It's only given to the very best players. And so if you want to get a 3rd mark, you really have to give it some welly. As we would say in the UK, that means you have to push really hard and get a huge amount of damage on a very regular basis. Otherwise, you've just got no chance. Okay, he's up against the M5Y, the Yo tank, or MVY, but of course, as you know, that is one of the new tanks embedded into the game. M103 takes one through the turret right at the front. Now, the M5Y is a very difficult tank to bring down, mainly down to the fact that it has basically a turret with very little to fire at, very few weak spots. The M103, though, does have weak spots, and we're pumping rounds through his turret straight away because he's aiming sideways. Okay, Tortoise pumps one through the side. We did take 1 round from a T110E5, who's obviously working the other side of the ridgeline. Remember, 440 Alpha. E4 came up. No, couldn't get that one in. There's only 1 Arty on either team in this game, so I'm not expecting much damage from the enemy Arty. Maybe the occasional stun. But you can see what we're doing here at the moment is actually punishing the enemy tanks at the back, not the ones at the front. The ones at the front can't engage properly. Oh, that was a good one there. Went into the 505 off that one. In fact, he's loaded nothing but premium rounds for this one. APCR was a bit frustrated there. There's the enemy Arty, I think. Okay. Pumps another one into the E5, who's pulled back and now made himself a prime target. The M103's popping up, but he's still going to go for the E5. And he's out the game. Okay, so first kill. The M103's a 1 shot, and he's out the game as well. That's 2 kills. I just saw the M5Y relocating. He's trying to get behind us. He went down to the village, and that went into the TNH, but we took 1 in return. And that was an APCR round, only for 295, but it is damage. Went for the Cupola on the E4, got it. Got a low roll, 368. He's watching that Yo tank. Yes, managed to get around in at distance. A high roll, 449. In fact, he's spotting as well now at the moment. Okay, got that T94E1 in the distance, but it's this one we're interested in. Yep, the TNHT Vis 51. Oh, enemy Arty trying to get us. Okay, can we finish this one off? Yep, got him. So that's his third kill. E4's next. Now, it's trying to go for the side. Gets it. Doesn't kill him. He's a high roll as well. But he's on one shot now, and our Minotauro moves in and takes the kill, the steal. So we can push. Now we can really go for it. And that Leopard and the T54 are not going to last very long. The Leopard's gone. The T54's gone. We're now chasing that Tortoise down the hill because he went down this way. And the enemy Arty just announced his presence by firing over the top of the ridgeline. He's just the other side of the ridgeline. It's a Conqueror gun carriage. So load the HE because, there's the Tortoise. Went for the weak spot, but he didn't get it. He actually got below the gunner's port there. That's what you've got to aim for there. And he gets that one in. Low roll, 402. Let your teammates go for that one, yeah, because they can put a few rounds in, occupy them as we pop over the ridgeline and go. Oh, that one didn't go in as well. And that was a premium round. That should have gone in. Okay, well, we're leaving the enemy Arty. We're going to go after the Char Future at distance. Easy pen there, 477, a high roll. Now, is he going to go after the... No, he wants that Char Future again. And he gets to the front of him this time. There's the Conqueror. He moved. He actually moved quite a bit. No, we can't get the shot. There's only 3 enemies left. They're all mediums. This will be fun. They're all on the other side of the battlefield as well. They're in that corner, southeast corner of the map. So we're going to have to motor if we want to get there. And this is where the fact that the Chieftain does have a fairly good engine. It didn't in reality, but this is the T95 FV4201, which is actually an American engine. So it's a lot better than the British engine on the British Chieftain. Yes, that was what let the Chieftain down in the end. It just had a dreadful engine to the vehicle. Char Future, just showing the top. Oh, and he didn't last long because he got nuked by the BZ-75, but we can go for this one, and that's a kill. And that is the end of the game, and another victory for Awppenheimer. Yet another victory for Awppenheimer, but it's still only a first class. Yes, he has got an ace tanker by now. You may have seen the video where he actually got it, but this was only a first class tanker for Awppenheimer. He also got a spotter badge again for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage. In fact, he was spotting a lot of damage being done to that M5Y as he ran away from the battlefield. A fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He did get 4 again, like the last battle. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 6. And he also picked up a couple of battle hero medals. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game again. And this time round, he also got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win rate was even higher than last time. You remember it was over 9,000 than last time. This time it's 12,068. And still not an ace tanker. Yes, would you believe that? Let's have a look at team score and see how much damage he really did. 8,569 hit points. The next highest scorer was on his own team, and that was 3,405, and that was the BZ-75 on his team. The third highest damage was the Progetto 65, who only managed 3,107. So basically in that game, he was just pumping the shells out and hitting the enemy for 6 every time and getting lovely shots on them. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those with 4. 2 kills went to the BZ-75, the Progetto 65, the Jagdtiger, the Leopard 1, and the Minotauro. In fact, that Minotauro should have actually only had 1 kill, because Awppenheimer should have taken out that T110E4, because after all, he did most of the damage to the guy. And when it came to base XP, he's the only one to get over 1,300. In fact, he gets 1,389. The next highest score was the Jagdtiger on his team, who actually did manage over 1,000, 1,038, but he couldn't match Awppenheimer, and that means Awppenheimer's got the top in all 3 columns yet again. In fact, the next highest after the Jagdtiger was the Emil 2, who only had 865 out of that one. Wow, let's have a look at detail. 26 shots fired, 25 direct hits and 21 penetrations. So very good accuracy. Only one shot didn't hit the target. 8,569 hit points of damage, of which 2,401 were at more than 300 meters. Yes, he was doing a lot more long-range shooting in this one, but that's because he was shooting across the valley at some of the enemy tanks that are on the other side. 3 hits received from the enemy, 2 of them penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and he blocked damage of 400 hit points. 5 enemy vehicles spotted, 10 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed, and 1,731 hit points of spotting assist. He earned 111,582 credits for the battle, but after repair, ammunition, resupply, and consumables, he actually made a loss. And this is mainly down to the fact that he selected the ammo loadout, which contained the premium ammo. Yes, because he's got the ability to select which options he wants for his ammo and also for his equipment, he decided, because this was a tier 10 game, he needed the extra oomph from the premium APCR to get through the armor of those tanks. And of course, the Westfield map, being a ridgeline fight, he needed that extra ammo to make sure, not extra ammo, but extra powerful ammo to make sure that every shot counted. Because of course, he's going for that ace tanker. You need a lot of damage to do that. So he actually made a loss of 62,617 credits, but I don't think he'll be worried about that because after all, you saw in the previous battles, he did make a lot of money off those. He got 7 bonds because this was tier 10, 2,083 XP for the battle, times 4 for the first victory, 104 for this being a premium vehicle, and 8,438 experience points altogether. So this tank can work a ridgeline, but of course it needs a player who knows how to work a ridgeline. And of course, Awppenheimer does, and he was actually doing a lot of damage to the enemy. Those that he was actually suppressing the guys at the front, stopping them from popping up, and that's why that M5Y decided to go away, because he realized he was in a bit of a disadvantage on that ridgeline, because every time he popped up, Awppenheimer was keeping him back down again. He was having to move down to avoid being hit by that 120mm gun. And anyone who was sitting at the back, like that T95 was eventually, he realized that, well, those tanks were being taken out because they were being holed in preference to the ones that were popping up to the ridgeline, but seeing Awppenheimer and pull back. And then, of course, the guys at the back were then taking the shots instead. So he was really being effective because he was suppressing fire on the ones that close to him, and he was putting shells into the ones who were much further away. So a very, very effective battle. And as you know now, Awppenheimer does have an ace tanker in this tank. And I'd look it up the replay. It's actually on the Steppes map, and it's a very good battle, so it's well worth watching. If you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And we will be featuring more battles by Awppenheimer very soon because we've got a whole batch of replays featuring the AMX M454, the top 10 tier 10 top of the tree French heavy tank, and you'll be able to see how he puts one of those through its paces as well. Thanks for watching.